Hey there, I'm doing a review of this Chinese car DVR I bought the other day. It's model i1000 F70 X6. I've also heard a 225 DVR or something like that. A lot of different companies make it, but anyway, I did some research on it, and it seemed like the one that fit all the parameters I wanted. It was relatively cheap. I paid $58, I think, for it. Shipping wasn't the fastest thing in the world, but quicker than expected. When they said it would take about a month, it got here in 3 weeks. But the reason I liked it was as you can tell, it's fairly small. B, it was relatively inexpensive. But C, it comes with this, which happens to be a separate camera that plugs into a long length of cord, which I'm guessing to be about 20 feet. I haven't actually measured it. That you can put in the back of your vehicle, and it records backwards, which is something I thought would be really useful. You know, if you're using a camera like this for security purposes when it comes to the police. I know I've had a few run-ins in the past that a recording would have helped my case a little bit there, just traffic incidences, but the police officer lost, quote-unquote, their recording of the incident. So anyway, so I'll just kind of show you how this thing works here. And so we plug that in there, and then this has this kind of plug in here, and we will see if I can put this up here so it's sort of running. And then this kind of plug in here, like so. And then we have the camera, and we'll turn it on here. Does that, makes a lot of obnoxious noise, which I'm not incredibly crazy about, and I haven't found a way to turn it off yet. But this is plugged into my computer, so it gives you, if you can't focus in on that. If you can't read it, the top says USB disk, which basically is like plugging the USB into the computer, and you can read all your files from there. PC camera, I'm guessing there's some way you can use it as a remote control, or not a remote control, but this does come with a remote control while I'm thinking about it. Not sure what all the buttons do or how it functions, and I usually end up having to use a combination of both of them to achieve what I want to achieve, because the buttons on it are not the greatest layout. But anyway, and then record mode. So we'll go to record mode, and on top here we've got three buttons. These two are kind of multi-function buttons, and then this one here is sort of your select button, the triangle on top, and if you're recording, that's what makes sure that whatever you're recording doesn't get deleted if it's something important. See, now it's recording. You can see a little red part on the bottom there, and the flashing camera in the top right corner, plus the blue flashing light. Lots of little flashing things to tell you it's recording. Now, as you can see, there's like a picture-in-a-picture type thing. The bigger picture is the forward-facing camera, and the smaller picture would be our rear-facing camera. So, move that around. And if we take our remote control here and press this button, it's got to be facing that gives us the option to just have the rear-facing camera. So Now that one can be moved around and face different directions. You can stop the recording here because we don't care about recording my room. And this button on top here, top left, brings you to the menu. And as you can see, the picture quality, I think that MP thing is for, so it says 720p or VGA. The second one over, which here is where I have to use the remote to go from side to side. Second one over is your record time, which I have it set at 5 minutes. It saves video files and individual files of either 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 5 minutes. Or you can turn it off. I'm not sure if that makes it so it doesn't record at all, or if it is just a continuous record. Anyway, and then your settings, just basic camera settings there. You can adjust your date and time and whatnot. So we'll get out of that. But anyway, so far just playing with it around here, most of it seems to be pretty cool. I will say that these LED lights are incredibly bright. It's daylight out, so you can't really tell, but it may be something I end up putting tape over to be in my truck. Now, this camera here, this little camera I'll show you, it spins like this, so you can adjust it, up and down. And I have a place in the rear bumper of my truck that has a hole in it that used to have a port for a trailer plug that isn't there anymore. And I thought that this would be a perfect place to kind of stick that behind, and it would be out of sight, out of mind. Those infrared things. You can't see them with the naked eye, but you can see them on the camera. It's supposed to be for night vision. Don't know how it works yet. We'll get to that later, I suppose. But anyway, looking at this thing, I really don't feel like it's weatherproof, and I'm contemplating on whether or not to not stick it in my rear bumper at all, or try to wrap it in a plastic bag, a clear plastic bag, so it's protected. But I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do there yet. As far as mounting goes, it has a couple options here. You can see the brackets there on the back. There is this here, which is just a 3M stick pad side, one-use deal that you can stick to your windshield. Or it has a relatively small suction cup, which I'm happy about because that makes it easier to transfer from one vehicle to the next. And it's small enough to be out of the way. Most suction cups are massive. This one kind of tucks in behind the camera and is a lot smaller than most, and so far seems to work pretty well. So I'll probably start off using that if I decide that I want it to be more permanent, or this isn't doing what I want. At least I have the option of the stick tape. For the car, it's just your regular cigarette lighter with, again, enough cord to basically plug it in at home and drive for a mile, which is good. You can never have too much cord. So anyway, now I do want to talk about some of the big downside. Is this is a Chinese company, and it sounds like the guy from the Chinese delivery place wrote this. Like here, for example, please do not install the DVR on the position and lay the airbag or keep out driving view or any position where driving affect driving safe. Something like that. It's really broken English. It's all over the place. The instructions are nearly worthless. Really nearly worthless. But it's an easy enough system to kind of figure out on your own if you're playing with it. The camera also comes with a separate USB cord to plug into your computer, which I have now, and it's just to a regular mini USB right there. So another thing I don't like is I kind of wish they put the ports all on the same side, so when it's sticking in your windshield you don't have one port coming out one way and the other coming out the other way. But you know, what are you going to ask for this amount of money? Now I'm going to look a little bit closer at the remote here. This does have some other cool features. It can be used as just a regular camera, which I think is that button right there, which I don't know who's going to use it as that, but it's an option if you want it. The button down here is to change your view from whole front view, whole rear view, or your picture-in-picture. Escape kind of backs you out of your menu settings. There's your menu settings. You can kind of use these things to scroll on the menu and stuff, plus video playback mode, which is up here. Those can be used for that. I'm assuming this is your lighting settings. I haven't used it. I have no idea what this thing is or this thing here. This, I'm assuming, turns your microphone on and off. And then this button right up here in the top corner has a little like guy in a crosshair deal. It is a really cool feature that also makes me really like this camera. This has a motion detector, motion sensor on it. So if you wanted, you could plug it up in your window in your house or in the windshield of a car that sits at the house more often. If you're in a quieter area anyway and there's not a whole lot of people walking around. And that would give you the option to use this as sort of a surveillance camera. If somebody walks upon your property, the motion sensor will sense it and get a recording, and if somebody breaks into your house or something like that, maybe get a recording of their license plate or their face or whatever. But that's a really cool, just kind of multi-purpose option to have there. So all in all, the camera's looking about, 80% of what I've wanted. This rear camera is my biggest concern. This is kind of the biggest reason I bought it, and I wanted to put it in the back window, and I did do a ton of research on this, and nobody can tell me anything about this rear camera, whether it's waterproof or not, or meant to be put outside. But I kind of wanted it. It'd be great for hooking up trailers by yourself, and just a regular backup camera in tight spaces, as well as, filming that cop car that's pulling you over, or that person who just rear-ended you and then took off running. So I'm probably going to try to rig something up that'll make that be protected outside on the rear bumper. Because in a single cab truck it's kind of worthless sitting in the back window. So we'll see. The other crappy thing is the replacement cameras for these things seem to cost as much as the whole camera costs, so we'll see. But we can go out and install this and see how it works out in a real life setting here. So that's what we're gonna go do.